Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got signature shoe news, a long-awaited Air Force One finally landing, Reimagined 4s, the week's highest releases, and of course, we have Hard Pass. All right, let's start with some hot takes. So, the Bread Air Jordan 4 Reimagined is rumored to be dropping in 2024. And unlike the Jordan 1 and Jordan 3 that went with the old route, the Jordan 4 is rumored to be actually taking its namesake seriously as they are replacing the nubuck upper and replacing it with leather. Now, we've seen leather on black Air Jordan 4s before. Here is one just in case you don't believe me. But to see it on the Breads, that's what the Reimagined series should have done from the start. Good job, Jordan brand. That is assuming that this is all true and we'll get something like this. FUBU CEO and Shark Tank investor Daymond John was on the Full Size Run show, and he revealed how FUBU was able to have gear that conveniently matched Nike product as they were being released.
We need a match what Nike and all those companies had. So if you get a stack of $30,000 and go over and get a brown bag and give it to one of the designers of Nike, they would give us the Pantone colors. So magically, we had burnt orange.
Oh wow!
When
to
the
match
burnt
the
orange,
forces, yeah.
the
That's
burnt orange
incredible.
sneakers came out. So we would do
Buying
that.
the trade secrets.
We would do it for 4 or 5
shade.
years, and we didn't want to talk to them at all. We just wanted to magically know you.
The good old days when social media wasn't there for brands to hype up their kicks months before release, and every indie t-shirt label had shirts that probably broke a few IP laws ready to go. Back in those days, all you needed was a brown bag and $30,000. I have one of those. Jason Tatum and Jordan Brand revealed a commercial for the Jordan Tatum 1, and it's, well...
Yo, Jason, did you always know? Did you always know?
It's fine, right? I don't want to be the person who complains, oh, where are the fun commercials that Nike used to make for MJ all the way to Blake Griffin, and then have nothing good to say when they do drop something for their latest star. I mean, it's clearly meant for Tatum's young fan base and not my curmudgeonly, slightly old head, but is there a way to split the difference? Like, you know how Pixar and DreamWorks does it, where they got jokes for the kids, but also wink and a nod to the parents? Am I taking this way too seriously? Yeah, let's move on. Sick graphics, though. With time running out on the Dallas Mavericks making the play-in tournament, there's a chance Luka Doncic could be shut down, which is a bummer, honestly, because those Jordan Luka 2s he's finally revealed this week, pretty good, man. I would love to see more colorways for sure, so that's one reason to loot for Luka and Kyrie to hang on to at least the 10th seed. Austin Reeves of my 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers is yet another example of Lakers exceptionalism, signing a shoe deal with a Chinese brand. He joins the likes of the GOAT, Alex Caruso, and becoming such a household name simply for playing for the Lakers, and they were able to parlay that into endorsements. What a time to be alive. After being sued by Vans over the Wavy Baby, MSCHF is now also getting heat from streetwear brand Wavy Baby with an E somewhere in there, from what I can only guess is the use of the term Wavy Baby. The way I see it, there's only one way to solve this. Wavy Baby, ladder match, and the winner gets custody of Wavy Baby. Hey, it's worked for WWE for nearly 20 years, and it's still paying off to this day. Terror Squad is finally getting an official Nike Air Force One drop later this year, and what a coincidence. It's the black and white colorway. Over under on Panda Squad jokes on social media between now and whenever these drop is a number that's never been invented yet. FootJoy, for you golf fans out there, or people who just like really comfortable shoes like Tiger Woods, is dropping a pastel pack for the springtime, and it's about as loud and colorful as you might expect a classic looking FootJoy, which is to say, not that loud or colorful at all. In contrast, here's what the Jordan Luka 1 Easter looks like. Which approach do you prefer when it comes to pastel or Easter themed sneakers? The subtle or the loud? And before we get to heat check, if you're already tired of the Vomero agenda here on Hard Pass, let our good friend G-Rock over at The Shoe Game show you what's next on the Nike heads who want New Balance vibes but are loyal to the swoosh docket, the Nike P6000. So according to their post, a mashup of Pegasus sneakers past, the Nike P6000 takes early 2000 running to modern heights. Featuring breathable mesh, sporty lines, and mixed material overlays, it's a perfect mix of head-turning looks and comfort. Plus, foam in the midsole adds a lifted track-inspired stance and unbelievable cushioning. You're welcome for the heads up. My job is done. All right, it's time for the heat check where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. We have the Nike Dunk Low Set Suban on April 11th for $120. The women's Nike Air Max 187 multi-pattern on the 13th for $180. The Nike Dunk Low Panda, this is on the Nike app reserved for you. This is going to be on the 13th as well for $110. The women's Nike Air Force 1 Low multi-pattern on the 13th for $125. The women's Nike Dunk Low Citron Pulse on the 13th for $110. The Jordan Luka 1 Easter on the 13th for $110. The Nike Zoom Vapor Tour AJ3 Racer Blue on the 14th for $180. Clot Nike Cortez White and Game Royal on the 14th for $150. The Reebok Shack Attack Black Top on April 14th for $180. And the Jordan Tatum 1 St. Louis on the 15th for $120. And then our pick of the week is the Nike Dunk Mid Panda on April 11th for $115. And I hope you know that I'm just kidding. Not even pandas can make something called mid hot. Or can it? I guess the streets will let us know. But my actual pick of the week is all the lucky green Jordan 1s. Has there ever been a sneaker release weekend dominated by one colorway? Like, you might see a Jordan 6 rings in a Bread or a Concord colorway maybe released within a few months of the mainline Jordan Retro, but on the same weekend and across several models? Like, let me break this down for you. We have the Air Jordan 1 High Lucky Green on the 15th for $180, but before that, we've got the women's Air Jordan 1 Low Lucky Green Aquatone on the 11th for $110, the Air Jordan 1 Low Lucky Green on the 11th for $110, the Air Jordan 1 Mid Lucky Green on the 11th for $125, the Jordan 6 Lucky Green on the 11th for $170, and the Jordan 2 Trey Lucky Green on the 11th as well for $155. As a Lakers fan, it's gross to me that I'm picking a lucky green sneaker as the pick of the week. Okay, I'm kidding, kinda. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. I'm just more impressed that Jordan was able to line up all of these ones in Team J's to drop at the same time. Apparently, so if you missed out on the high ones, you can find other J's that will most definitely still be there by the 15th as a sort of a consolation prize. Last week, we featured Eric Kilborn Jr., the 14-year-old who had a size 23 foot. I said had because the kid's feet are still growing. Well, after initially trying with Nike, Adidas, and Reebok to no avail, Puma and Under Armour said they would create custom shoes and molds for Eric. Now that story has been picked up, Reebok has come through with size 22s made for Shaq to give to Eric, which might be okay since we all know Reebok classics run big anyways. Remember what we said last week? It's good PR, yes, but if it means Eric and kids in a similar situation are taken care of, honestly, it's worth it. Ben Affleck, who has totally upended the ratio of mentions between himself and J-Lo on the show in a way that nobody is happy with, was spotted wearing the unreleased Chicago version of the Travis Scott Jordan 1 High. Now, if you think we're gonna do a deep dive into whether he's wearing reps or customs or real deals based on crappy screenshots, well, you'd be wrong. We don't care. Ben is just doing this to promote the movie. His sneakerhead phase is gonna be like those kids who wear dirty Air Force Ones or Panda Dunks. They'll move on to the next thing and revert back to their old faves, which in Affleck's case would be, actually, I don't know what he wore before. Can we just show J-Lo? Yeah. I think that's the move. PJ Tucker is giving away 7 pairs from his personal collection for the Sixers Youth Foundation. There are some real gems in there, like a Kobe 6 PE, a rare Cuttino Mobley Hyper Dunk, a Kentucky LeBron 7, and more. But what people really want to know is why PJ signed them? I mean, Nate Robinson even asked PJ why, and PJ replied he wondered the same thing. Like, I understand why the team got PJ to sign. A sports fan thinks the signed pair is more valuable, but if sneakerheads are chasing these, they want their kicks as fresh as possible and no reps. Wait, I just had a thought. If PJ ever wore reps, and I'm not saying he has or he hasn't, nor am I judging if he has, but wouldn't that be like the biggest scandal in sneaker culture, like ever? Anyway, happy birthday to Skateboard P as Pharrell turns 30. No. Is it 40? No. 50 this week? Wait, he's 50? Does that mean I'm almost 30 now? Man, Time flies when you tell people what your real age is in front of a camera. Cole Anthony wins the award for person who plays 2K a lot for recreating the jump shot animation glitch during warm-ups. Next thing you know, he's going to be sliding into the correct position to take off for a dunk, or if he plays WWE 2K, an RKO. It's been revealed that Greg Norman was not invited to the Masters and that he's only been invited 2 of the past 10 years. Of course, everyone is going to frame this as another chapter in the Live Golf versus PGA drama. But if I'm a member of Augusta National, I'd tell the press that we don't invite people who had a green jacket practically tailor-made for them on a Sunday only to choke it away to Nick Faldo. In an effort to deflect from recent failures, Black Adam, hierarchy of power, The Rock is coming back to Disney to make a live-action version of Moana. Now, you know Moana, the classic movie that's been seen by multiple generations of kids going all the way back to 2016. This would be like Nike speeding up the timeline and doing a retro of the Hyper Adapts. He could have just shown up at WrestleMania last Sunday, helped Cody Rhodes win the championship, set up a match with Roman Reigns at next year's Mania for Bloodline Supremacy, and boom, he's back in everyone's good graces again. Now he's gonna turn Moana into Maui and make it all about him and his Lin-Manuel Miranda rapping style. Here's hoping he brings in John Cena as a rival demigod who credits Tony Yayo all the time for his spellcasting gesture. All right, it's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. Like my WrestleMania picks. We're recording this before the Masters, so we'll make fun of those on next week's show, but damn, I was really wrong about Mania. Let's start with my first pick. Dominic Mysterio over Rey Mysterio. I figured Prison Dom was going to win because Booking 101 states you have to let the younger talent win to get people invested in the kid, especially if their opponent is their dad and was just put in the Hall of Fame. But I forgot about Booking 102, which is let the dad win with help from Bad Bunny so you can keep the story going and have it headline a different event, like say, I don't know, the first premium live event in Puerto Rico in almost 20 years. I know that's a highly specific booking rule, but it's on the books, guys. Anyways, at least our second pick panned out with Bianca Belair retaining her championship. That set up a meeting between her and new SmackDown champ Rhea Ripley that hopefully means we get the two headlining a main event Mania match in a year or two. That has closed out WrestleMania Sunday potential. I'm telling you all right now, if they can book a women's story correctly, mwah. Speaking of booking a story correctly, here's our biggest miss of the weekend. Cody Rhodes losing to Roman Reigns in the main event thanks to shenanigans. Yeah, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat the Usos for the tag title to close out night one and produce the best feel-good moment since Kofi Mania, but I guess Vince McMahon felt like Roman taking an L could be saved for another time and delay Cody's ascension a few more months or maybe even another year. I disagree with that notion because Cody with the belts could have produced its own set of interesting stories moving forward and the bloodline fallout could have occupied a separate space, but oh well. It might not even matter anymore now that Endeavor has come in and merged WWE and the UFC. Tune in next week when MMA fighters with zero charisma clash with WWE pro wrestlers who throw pulled punches trying to figure out if they're in a work or a shoot, brother. By the way, shout out to Snoop Dogg for hosting Mania and producing one of the weekend's best moments, saving a disastrous segment where a returning Shane McMahon appeared to have torn all the ligaments in his knees seconds into an impromptu match with The Miz. Snoop took over, punched Miz twice, and did a hilarious interpretation of the People's Elbow. Man, if that whole bit was improv on the fly and not something they had planned to do after Shane beat Miz, Snoop becomes an even bigger deal. But let's also talk about the stray predictions that we made last week. It's about the men's and women's Final Four, where we kind of pushed for the U to win on the men's side for pure comedy and for Caitlin Clark to lead Iowa on the women's bracket. Yeah, we were wrong about both. Honestly, I stopped caring about the men's tournament after the U got knocked off by, it doesn't matter. But the women's final, man, that was a banger. Not the game because, well, LSU scored the most points ever in a championship game and kept Iowa from keeping it close. I'm talking about everybody getting in their feelings because most outstanding player Angel Reese of LSU decided to show Clark what she couldn't see, the size of her ring finger. I had no problem with it, especially since Clark was doing the Tony Yayo before and apparently talks trash all the time. I had a bigger problem with the people saying Clark and Reese were doing the John Cena "you can't see me" move when even Cena admits he got it from Tony Yayo. The other thing I had a problem with, obviously, was the double standard some people you would think would know better had when they were praising Clark for showing some personality on the court, but calling out Reese, the most outstanding player of the tournament, for doing the same. Like, yes, I agree that what Reese did was not the same as what Clark did, but who cares? I mean, this is not like Pat Bev doing the too small to LeBron James. Angel Reese is no Pat Bev punching way above her weight class. A glorified bench warmer coming up to Clark like that? Yeah, that would be weak. Reese and Clark are on the same level. Clark might have set scoring records, but Reese was the, say it with me now everybody, most outstanding player and has a championship ring to go along with it. I'm not going to get into the deeper race aspects of this because there's no getting around it. Race definitely played a part in the discourse, but I have to ask, how is this a thing? I thought nobody watched women's basketball. Since when did these clowns who were trying to shame Angel get so interested in the women's game? I just like watching good hoops, and I definitely pay attention when they make sneaker news like Kiki Rice debuting the Air Jordan 38 or Sabrina Ionescu becoming the next Nike signature shoe athlete. Like, it's good to see that more people are watching women's basketball, but man, it looks like when more people watch, the clown car gets bigger too. Congrats, women basketball. I guess you now have the same dumb, toxic fans that the men's game does. Yay for parody. Oh, and if Reese decides not to go to the White House because of that comment First Lady Jill Biden made about maybe inviting Iowa too, like it's some sort of participation trophy, she's in her right to do so. People didn't go see Obama because reasons. Full teams didn't go see Trump because reasons. Blah, blah, blah. It's been happening for years. Whatever Reese decides to do, we shouldn't make a big deal of it. And that's her business. And that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before we leave you with a viewer Hard Pass.
As a beginner shoe collector, I can't keep up. I still need the SB4, I need the red Big Bubble, I need a Vomero 5, and I just need a Jordan 4 and a Jordan 6 and a Jordan 1 to add to the collection. I can't give Nike all my money. Tell them to slow down with the hype shoes. Resale needs to be $200 minimum, and then I can stay on track. Have a good day.
Look, if you'd like to be featured in a future episode, call us, 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, your social media if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.